Welcome, everybody, to our goal setting workshop, 7 keys to accelerate your success. I want to say welcome. Super excited to have you all joining us here today. I'm Angel Tuccy. I am your media mastery specialist. And I will tell you, I have always loved setting goals. I was a Franklin Planner girl in high school, and I have just always loved setting goals, creating my tasks, and writing things down. My husband and I, every year at the beginning of the year, have our financial summit, financial and goal planning summit. We call it this very official event where we plan our goals for the year. And then every single month on the second Saturday of the month, we get together and do a review. So I just eat this stuff up. I love it. I know the value of it, but there are times where I just kind of start to feel like all I'm doing is writing things down and checking them off. Is it really moving me forward? What are the items I really need to be working on? What are those daily activities? And sometimes I just get so caught up in the doing of that I forget to kind of look up and look at the really big picture. And so today we're going to talk about how to stay on track, how to set those goals. And like Carey said at the very end, we've been introduced to a fabulous app that keeps us on track and keeps us moving forward. I've been using it for less than 90 days now, and it is just a game changer in business. But I was introduced to it from my dear friend, Miss Carey Conley. And if you don't know Carey, she's the queen of vision. She puts together the most amazing workshops, and she's written a fabulous book on it, on creating a vision for your life. And many of you, maybe you've done vision boards, right? And written down vision statements. She is the queen of really getting laser focused on where you're going. And so there's nobody better to talk about putting together big audacious goals, big plans in your calendar, and then baby step exactly how to get there. So I want to introduce to you one of my dearest friends, longest friends that I've had in business. We've traveled, we've been to the beaches of Mexico, we've watched sea turtles hatch and go into the ocean for their very first time. We've had some amazing experiences together. And so I introduce to you Miss Carey Conley.
Angel Tuccy, I just love you so much. I could carry you around and have you introduce me all day long. Yeah, I'm thrilled to be here, you guys. Some of you I've met before. It's good to see you again. And for those of you who don't know me, Angel's giving me quite an introduction. I am known as a vision expert. I've been doing this unofficially for over 25 years. And officially about 8 years ago, I stepped into the speaking and coaching arena and have taught many people, thousands of people, how to get what I call their hope and their wish and their prayer plan that's kind of rolling around in their head, that they're trying to do, out of their head and onto paper. Because it is a game changer, you guys. If you've never done it, I'm a big believer in vision boards, but I help people take it a step further and put action and dates behind things. So I'm here with Angel to do a little workshop with you guys, and we're going to share, each of us, we're going to go back and forth between me and Angel, sharing a really juicy tip in the 7 areas of your life. And they all start with the letter F, if any of you are writing this stuff down. And as we've both mentioned already, we're going to introduce you to a really amazing new tool that we both discovered 90 days ago, that is so easy to use and is really amazing. As a matter of fact, about 4 years ago, I was looking into creating my own app and about to dump thousands of dollars into doing that. And I'm so glad I did not, because what these guys have created is amazing. So we're going to start with the first letter F in the area of your faith life, whatever that means for you. And I'm going to share a tip that I have shared with so many people from a speaking platform and also with my clients. It's a habit that I developed many years ago when my kids were little, and it is non-negotiable for me. And that is that the first hour of my day before I do anything is spent in solitude. Mm. So before I check my phone, before I make my to-do list, I get up, get a cup of coffee, I go find my quiet space, and I do several things inside my solitude hour. First thing is that I do a little bit of prayer and a little bit of breathing so that I get aligned with God and want to hear what the universe has in store for me that day. I also do some reading. I like to read a devotional. I also do about 20 minutes of reading from whatever book I'm in the middle of at the moment. I then write, I journal on some of the things that are on my heart, the prayers that I have, the affirmations that I am claiming. I just spend that hour, you all, getting my head and my heart in the right space. Because without that, I don't know about you guys, but I can tend to get up and start to hit the ground running, and the day is off the entire day. I feel like all I'm doing, like Angel said, is checking off to-do lists, and I'm not really focused on the most important things of the day. So the last thing I do in my solitude before I get up and move on to my day is I identify the 3 things that are most important to me that day that need to be done. And as I said, we're going to show you this app on how you can track that every day. It's really cool. So quiet time's everything, you all. And I know it's not easy when we've got kids at home, maybe, or we're, running multiple businesses or have a job, but it does change everything on how your day goes. So I hope that that will help you in that area. So Angel, you want to take the next one in the area of family?
Family. Yeah. The faith one is, I think it's so easy to put on the back burner and let life get in the way of that. But Carey, I'm a testament. I've watched you do that every single morning, and it's been a game changer for you, and you don't start anything. And I have a fun little app called Jesus Calling that I read in the morning, and it's amazing how it just feels like it speaks to me on the exact day that I really need it. Okay, so family. Right? And so as we're going through, the nice thing about when you separate your goal setting into all these different categories and kind of design your life, right? I mean, that's really what we're doing, is designing our life. And for many of you, my family is super important to me. I moved from Colorado to Orlando to be closer to my children, who all 3 of my kids work for Disney World, which is pretty, I don't know, pretty unique for our family. But we schedule family time. And, I think as entrepreneurs, taking a look at our calendar and what are we putting in there? If you tend to just overwork all the time, you'll almost have to schedule that family time in first. But if you tend to put all your fun and playtime in first, then you need to schedule, right? You need to schedule your work time. But for me, I kind of tend to be an overachiever, and it's really easy. I love what I do. And so it's really easy for me to just work a lot. I had somebody tell me that I'm a filler. And I thought, you know what, we're moving to this house. I want to be able to enjoy. We have a swimming pool. We live close to Disney. We live close to our kids. And so I had to put some really strong boundaries around my work schedule. And I started by saying Friday afternoon and 6 o'clock, I'm turning my computer off, and I'm not turning it back on until Monday morning. And I'm disconnecting. I don't do a lot of social media posting on the weekends. I don't check my emails. I mean, unless I'm attending an event, I pretty much take the full weekend off. And that was a boundary that I had to set for myself. And in order to kind of get started with that, is I had to schedule things with my family. And so I schedule a date night with my husband. We do happy hour on Friday nights. We do, even in the evenings, we now at sunset, we look at what time sunset is, and we stop the end of the day. And that's kind of our end of the day. And we stop and watch the sunset pretty much every night. And then I also schedule in my family time. And I'll tell you, when you make your family a priority, they come on board and they're super supportive of everything that you're doing, because they get to hear about it and they know that they're important. Sometimes we can say, I'm doing this for you. And they're like, well, so what? I never see you. And so by scheduling that time in and making them a priority, they become super supportive, especially for those of us who are entrepreneurs.
Love that. Yeah, when I was raising my kiddos, and I was an entrepreneur as well, Sundays was off limits in my office. I was not allowed to even go in the door. And our kids, as a matter of fact, were not allowed to have any sleepovers, play any sports on Sundays. It was totally our family day. And that is a boundary we kept. And I'm so grateful that we did, because wow, that time went fast. So great tip. So I want to talk to you about friends, the area of friends. And this is an exercise, again, that I'm known for. I've taught it to thousands of people, and it's called the front row. So this is an exercise you can do maybe sometime today that I hope you will take seriously, because when you do this, it will make some huge changes in your life. So here's the exercise in 3 parts. Number 1, visualize that you are standing on a stage and you're looking into the theater and you see rows of seats. All right. Second part of the exercise is to make a list of all the people that you spend the most amount of your time with. So you just make that list. And then the third part of this exercise is to rank these people based on how they make you feel. So it's not ranking them as a person. This isn't a judgment game. This is just, how do they make you feel? So obviously the people who are the 9s and 10s are the people that you can't wait to be around. They always lift you up. They encourage you. They inspire you. They believe in your vision and your goals. I call them your talk me down from the ledge people. On the days that you have a really bad day, they're going to remind you why you are doing what you're doing, right? So 9s and 10s. On the opposite end of the scale, you can imagine these are the people who are quite the opposite of the 9s and 10s. And 1s and 2s are the people that you could be feeling really, really great, and you get around them, and in about 2 minutes, they've sucked the life right out of you. Unfortunately, sometimes these are people that we have had in our life for a really long time. Obviously, the people in the midsection of the numbers, these are people, I call these my networking people. I see them on a regular basis. We have great conversation. It's cordial, it's nice, but we don't take each other up or down. Here's the last part of the exercise. The only people who should be what I call in the front row of your life, the ones who are closest to you, they get the most amount of your time, and you also allow them into you emotionally, are the 9s and 10s. Anybody that's in your front row that you're spending a lot of time with that is not a 9 or 10 needs to be moved from those seats. So remove people who are in the midsection to where they need to be. And anybody who's a 5 or below, you need to put in the balcony of your life. You need to set some boundaries. And a lot of times when I have people do this exercise.
A long time. You are in the area?
Hi, Linda, you want to unmute? There you go. So what we want to do is start moving some people around, you guys. And I know this is not easy because, like I said, some of these people, maybe you're related to them. Maybe they're friends that you've had forever. But if they're not lifting you up and helping you move forward, they're draining you. They're keeping you stuck. So we put some boundaries around those people, and we also do not let them get into us emotionally. We don't take advice from them. We don't take it personally when they say something that hurts our feelings or doesn't believe in us, right? So how many of you already know? I love to hear from people. You can put it in the chat or raise your hand that you've got some work to do on the front row thing. Usually most people do. A lot of times people say to me, wow, I've got some empty seats I need to fill. That's good. Those people are out there if you look for them, you guys. These are usually my mentors. Angel's been in my front row for many, many years, and I'm in hers because we just love each other and believe in what we're doing, and we help each other meet other 9s and 10s too. So that's my exercise in the area of friends. And so Angel's now going to share with you on fitness.
Yes, I'm super excited. 3 years ago, or even a year ago, I would not have been the right person to talk to you about setting fitness goals. For the last 3 years, it was about 3 years ago that I started hosting the morning talk show. We moved from the afternoon to the morning drive, which meant I was getting up at 3 o'clock in the morning to head into the studio, and it totally screwed up my metabolism. I wasn't sleeping enough. I was eating crappy. And even though I had joined a gym, I was a member of Orange Theory Fitness, and I went regularly to Orange Theory. I just totally messed up my metabolism, and it never really bounced back. And then when I left radio and started traveling, of course, now I have zero routine. I'm not working out regularly. We're eating at really weird hours. We're grabbing junk food on the road. We're eating dinner like at 9 o'clock at night, 10 o'clock at night at the end of the day. And so over the course of those 3 years, I put on about 25 pounds on my little 5'1" little posture, right? And so pretty much looked like I ate a whale. At least that's how I felt. people around me are like, Angel, you look great, you look fine. I'm like, but I knew. And how many of you, like, like, this just isn't my best. I could be, I'm being lazy. And so about 6 months ago, I decided, I finally had this woman around me gave me kind of just this inspiration that I needed to finally make a change and decide I was going to get healthy. I was going to lose the extra weight. I was going to move again. I was just going to get healthier. And this is the thing with any goal is if you're only kind of sort of into it, then you're only every day you have to make a decision. Am I going to be healthy today? Am I going to work out today? Am I going to do this? But when you have 100% willpower and you're like 100% every day, I'm working out, like every day, this is what I'm eating every day, then you don't have to make the choice. Am I doing that today? Is today a workout day? Is today a day I'm going to eat healthy? Is today a cheat day? And so when it comes to fitness, I decided to just be 100% all in. And here's something else, like anytime we're trying to change like a bad habit, we'll say, well, I'm trying to cut back, right? And for me, sugar is my weakness, right? Sugar is my weak point. And so instead of saying I'm trying to cut back and I'm trying to eat less, like I don't eat sugar, right? Like period. I don't do that. I don't smoke or I don't drink or, I don't eat after 7 o'clock at night, like 100% all in, like this is who I am now. And by making that decision, and so some of the things that I started doing is every single day, I would ride on my Peloton. We own a Peloton, and I would ride in the Peloton in the morning. And I would also ride again in the afternoon. I ride my Peloton twice a day. And I did that for, I don't know, 500 miles, or I don't know, like I was obsessed with it. And so it's not what I'm doing. This is what I do. I ride my Peloton twice a day. And I was doing that so that I could lose the weight. I've now shifted what my fitness goals are. And so I've now cut back to 1 time a day, but I eat a salad every day for lunch, right? Like this is what I do. It's like, what should I have? And what should I be thinking? And I know Brian, right? He made a commitment, like every single day, do something and move and do what you love. And so if fitness is important to you, and as entrepreneurs, it needs to be at the top of our game, right? Because if the machine isn't working, no money in the world is going to buy us an extra day. So we've got to be healthy. If we're going to be traveling as speakers, if we're going to be standing up on stage and talking about success, if we're going to be leaders to our teams, we don't just want to be a leader in one area. What we look like and how we're taking care of our body will get us through those long runs, get us through those long days, those times where you're being really aggressive in growing your business. And so for my fitness, I do this. This is who I am. And this is what I do every single day to get me out of the wishy-washy of having to make a decision. Because if I have to make the choice, I'm going to stay in bed. I'm not going to run. I'm not going to put my workout clothes on, right? I don't have time, right? I don't want to have to wash my hair again, right? Like we're just going to make excuses. And I think the biggest lie that the enemy keeps bringing to us is that you can do it later. And that's where I was for 2 years, is I'll do it later. I'll get to it. And then when COVID came, like it just seemed like there was no good reason to start moving because it just didn't matter. We weren't going anywhere. And I just let myself just slide. And it's a pound here, 2 pounds, 10, and then finally we just draw a line in the sand. I ride my Peloton every day.
I love that advice, Angel. This is who I am now. It's just an affirmation. This is who I am. I love that. So I'm going to talk to you about a tip in the area of finances. And this is for you wherever you're at in that world, that part of your life. It's a rule that I learned a long time ago, and maybe you guys already know it. It's the 10-10-10 rule that, even if you're making, $1,000 a month or $50,000 a month, you can still apply. So the first 10% of whatever you bring in is to be given away. Some of you may tithe to your church. Others of you give to charities, philanthropies that you have, but give the first 10% away. And the reason we do that, no matter how little we are living on, is because money has a flow. And if we hold on to it out of scarcity, we stop the flow of more of it coming, right? So keep the flow open. Put it out, more will come in, I promise. Second 10%, you can put in a little savings somewhere, some sort of an emergency fund that if you happen to walk out to your car and all 4 tires are blown, you're not freaking out about how you're going to pay for those new tires, right? So set some money aside. And then the third 10% is investing in something long-term. I don't know if you all have insurance, you have financial planners, whatever that looks like. I definitely do. I have all of the above. And a little bit of my money every month gets handed off to my financial planner, and he does with that whatever he sees fit, because he does a really great job for me. I will tell you guys honestly, this is something that people know, but they don't necessarily do until it's too late. And I know from experience, you guys, I lost my husband, unfortunately, 7 years ago. And fortunately, my husband was really good with money very early on in our marriage. And so I am reaping the rewards of those decisions that we made a long time ago as a couple to make sure that we put money into long-term investment. So 10, 10, 10. Don't know if you guys can start applying that right away. Like I said, it doesn't matter what your income is. We can always apply this rule, right? So just wanted to help with that.
That's awesome, Carey. I mean, even if you start with 5-5-5, right? Just as a place to start, right? I save 5%, we invest 5%. One of the things for our family is we tend to pay cash for our cars. And so we don't have a car payment. And my brother-in-law had recommended to us, and years ago, he's like, make a car payment, even if it's only $100 a month, $150, $200 a month, and put it into a savings account. So when you do need tires and, needs a transmission or whatever, it's time to buy a new car. And so we have a car fund that we started adding as well. What about taxes, right? As for, one of the smartest things that we started doing, Patsy, was I set myself up with a payroll account, so that I am getting paid as an entrepreneur. And by setting up a payroll account, and many payroll companies will do it for a single person too, they'll handle the taxes for you. And so they're not a surprise. And we pay our taxes quarterly for our business, because I just don't want to handle that at the end of the year, a great big tax bill. But if you are an entrepreneur and you aren't taking a paycheck yet, I really do recommend setting up a payroll account, even whatever the number is. Like, it doesn't have to be, look, I deserve, 6 figures, right? Just have an amount, but then they'll handle taking out your taxes for you. And if you do have employees, it's really easy to bring on employees because you already have payroll set up. So, okay. What is my next F, Carey?
To talk about fun, Angel.
Oh, okay. So, I love to have fun, right? I'd love to have fun, but I'm also like really love working. And so one of the things that I do is I kind of compartmentalize. Like, I will work really hard, like go hardcore for like 90 days at a time, even though, and I do take my weekends off, right? But I make sure that we schedule in kind of our bucket list item every year. So put something really fun that you just like, what do you love to do? And there should be like 3 categories to your fun. There should be a bucket list thing, like that you just like, I've always wanted to go parasailing, or I've always wanted to, go to Paris, right? Like, whatever your bucket list item is, there should always be something that you have scheduled, right? That you're looking forward to, that that you can start to sock away a little bit of money, you can start to plan for it. Because I think, especially if it's a trip, like 30% of the fun is in the planning of the trip and the anticipation of the trip. So a big bucket list thing. And then just like every month, something that you're doing that you enjoy, that you don't feel like you're just working and no play. As we get older, we tend to not laugh as much and not tend to be, we get to be old fuddy-duddies. Like, how many of you know the old, crotchety neighbor who just, they never get out of their house, they never go and do anything fun. Well, if we schedule something fun at least once a month, right? Like, this is it's going to take a few hours. We're going to go to the beach, or I'm going to take a dance class, or I'm going to start a hobby or something else, but put some fun back into your life. You will be a much happier person. And then every week, just maybe something little, a little thing that every week you have to look forward to, that there's something in your calendar. And I'm big into calendaring. And even when you take all of these 7 things and you assign them a color, you can start to see, look, I've got some balance in my life and I am covering all of these things. But one of the most interesting things about this goal setting app, this tool that Carey and I started using a few months ago, was the very first thing it told me I needed to focus on was adding more fun into my life. And when I first saw that, I thought, oh, they must do that for everybody. Everybody needs to add more fun into their life. Like, we're all totally off balance. But then I was talking to my girlfriend and she's like, no, Angel, mine with finances. I'm like, it did? You mean it's totally customized to me and what I need to be focused on first? And it was just this aha moment for me. Like, even though I take time off from work, or I'm scheduling downtime, am I actually scheduling fun time in there? Do I have something that I'm looking forward to? Do I have a hobby that I've always wanted to take up? And of course, during the pandemic, it just sucked because there was no fun, right? We couldn't go anywhere. We couldn't go to the movies. We couldn't go and hang out with friends. You couldn't really travel, right? It was, everything was closed. All the things we wanted to do, we couldn't do. And so I think that was an element of some of the despair and anxiety that we as a country are feeling. And so I'd love to hear, like, put in the chat box, like, what do you love to do just for fun? Like, just for fun. And whether you do it now, or you just wish you did more of it, or you haven't done it in ages. Like, I don't care what the timing is. Like, just what do you love to do for fun? Dance. Deborah, I love it. We used to host these dance parties. We had a DJ would come into our business networking events, and we'd have, it was the mullet of events, because we do all business up front, right? And we get all the business and the networking done. But then we, at the end of it, we're like, we'd bring in a DJ and we would dance. And I will tell you what, getting entrepreneurs and letting them have fun together, it's very powerful. Playing games with cards and family. I love that, Patsy, right? Sitting around and I mean, the conversations that you have and the memories and the laughter and the inside jokes you develop as families. Playing with my kids. Love that. Camping. Oh, we've got an outdoors guide, hiking in the woods, biking, paddling, kayaking. And you live in a fabulous place for doing that. Hanging out with family, playing trivia games. We made masks when we were in New Orleans, crafting. And it was so funny because we had this crafting activity at the speaker event that Deborah and I were in New Orleans at the beginning of August. And at first, everybody's really shy about coming together with glue and glitter and what do we want it to be. And then by the end, right, had a little cocktails, we'd gotten to know each other a little bit better. And then we were having so much fun. Gammy day with grandsons, dancing, singing. I love it. So schedule it, right? I mean, the best thing, and I'm such a calendar girl. I can put it on my to-do list, but if it is truly important to you, schedule that time in. And so look at your calendar before the beginning of the month and put in your family time, right? Put in your fun time to make sure that you're rewarding yourself. And sometimes these are rewards. One of the things that I've always loved about network marketing groups, I don't know if any of you have ever been involved with a network marketing group, but they would put incentives, right? If you hit this goal, you get this trip, you get this prize. And as entrepreneurs, we can set up our own incentives. And so one of my incentives is if I hit my goals, and now we actually just do it. Now we just, I need to put more goals attached to it, but now I just schedule it. But I go to Mexico 4 times a year and I just sit on the beach for a couple of days, put my toes in the sand, get, all-star inclusive, cocktails brought, poolside. And it is my reward for working so hard. And then we dance and we, take walks on the beach and we just do all this fun stuff. But you've got to put it in. You've got to put it in your calendar and schedule it. And I promise you, when you do, you get what you think about most of the time. And so become obsessed with what you really want. But don't be afraid that fun, right? When does fun ever end up in our goals? Well, it needs to be. And for me, it was the number one thing that this goal setting app told me I needed.
Thank you guys. I hope that's just added value to today. It's a good thing this is my one and only workshop today because I'm running out of words. I hope that the tips that Angel and I gave you today, if nothing else, added value to your life and the progression that you're wanting to make. And I do hope that I get to meet you all again in either the inner circle in our ambassador get together. All right. Thank you, Angel. Always fun doing these with you, my friend.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So go forth and have your most accelerated life. Thank you for being here,
everybody.
guys.